Evan.
Roz.
Stefan.
And what Verbally does is the easiest way to share and discover mobile apps.
So 22 million apps are being shared verbally through word of mouth every single day. Now here's the problem. There's no platform to capture and leverage social recommendations.
So what Verbally does is it makes it dead simple to share and discover new apps. There's over 500,000 apps in the App Store. How are you going to find them? How are you going to find the good ones without wasting a ton of time, money? You just can't. And so what we're trying to do is make peer recommendations extremely easy for apps. So this is just kind of a quick little screen that you can see here. What you would do is you would go to the app, you'd go to Verbally, you'd start typing in, let's say, Instagram, for example. It auto-populates from the App Store, tells you. Then what you do is you leave a review on it. So you say, I use Instagram to take really cool photos, apply awesome filters, and it makes my life look way more awesome than it is. And then you publish that, you just, with the click of a button, you publish it to Twitter or Facebook. And what that does then is it sends it out to your social networks, tells people, hey, I love this app, it's really cool. It appends a URL, which we're actually going to not talk about right now. I'm getting ahead of myself. So, next slide.
So here's an interesting stat. 45% of apps are being discovered through word of mouth. That's almost 1 out of 2 apps. So, you can see here we've got Nielsen ratings, and basically they've come up with some of these statistics. And here's a survey we did. We went out and we did a survey, and 78% of people hear about apps through their friends, 90% have downloaded recommendations, and 90% recommend apps to business colleagues. A nice demographic. So
yeah, there's over $8 billion being generated in the app market between Apple and Google. Of that, 700 million is generated just through recommendations online. That's not just word of mouth recommendations, that's strictly online. So it's obviously a pretty huge market.
And we think that being conservative, we can reach 1% of that market, which would generate $7 million a year.
So what we've done is we've looked at the ecosystem of who's going to be interacting with Verbally. We've got people who are posting to Verbally. We've got people who are following apps. We also have the app developers themselves who obviously want to promote their apps on Verbally. We have the app platforms, and we have, of course, ourselves. So obviously we're not going to get into this as one of those slides you're talking about that blows up your brain. And so we'll just skip past it. But essentially we've identified all the incentives and motivations for somebody to use the app continuously that will give us the traffic and the traction we need to kind of grow things and scale.
But then, if we're going to make $7 million, we got to figure out how we're going to make cash. So our number one revenue model is collecting commissions from app sales. The second way would be to allow developers to have their featured apps on our website. You can also offer group deals to our users for discounted apps. And then app analytics for the app developers as well.
Cool, so this is just a screenshot of Verbally. You can actually check it out live right now, verb.ly. Without getting into it too much, ultimately the biggest thing right now is just on sharing. And you can explore apps. Like what we'll have here is, it's not fully functional, but we'll have the most recent post from Verbally users generated here. And this is what I talked about before. At the end, it appends a URL, next slide, which would take you to a profile page for Instagram, for example.
So this is the reason why it sets us apart from the App Store. We're baking in social recommendations, customer sentiment, and what we're doing is we're actually monitoring the conversation that's happening right now about apps.
This is a landing page that once one of your peers finds the link, they go here and they find out, hey, is this app worth my time? Yeah. And then of course there's a download button they can follow.
Excellent. So yeah, moving forwards, obviously it's to launch this. We're really grateful for Startup Weekend, brought us together. We got to hash out a really cool concept, and we're committed to pursuing this. So obviously, we want to start getting, just throw it out there, a few visits, and start generating revenue from day one. That's our biggest thing. Like make that first app recommendation, start earning commissions, and scale things up. And yeah, so check it out. Next slide. You can go to verb.ly. As we said, there's
go share an app. Try it out.
There's a few bugs to iron out, as to be expected. But yeah, thanks guys.